Hey y'all, and welcome back to Designs by Gaddis. While you're here, give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel. This will help my channel to grow, and hit the bell to be notified when I upload new videos. Thanks for watching. Today we will be creating this cute little gnome for our fall decor. What you're going to need is some type of fabric. I'm using an old shirt, a mop, and I just took this mop head off of a mop from Dollar Tree, ping pong ball from Dollar Tree, got a black sock, and I picked up some of these red kidney beans from Dollar Tree, and I'm going to use this hazelnut Waverly chalk paint for the nose. So let's go ahead and paint the nose so it can be drying. And I'm going to set that to the side. Okay, the next thing we want to do is get our kidney beans, and we're going to put them in the sock, in this black sock. Now I'm going to make a hole here. I may have to actually cut off some of this sock, a little bit too long. And now I'm going to hot glue this with a hole in it because I want to be able to hot glue the mop head down into the sock like so. So I'm just going to fill this up with a lot of hot glue. Take my mop head and hold it down in there. Now I'm just going to take the hot glue gun. I'm just going to go around the edge because I really don't want the head to fall off. Okay, so hopefully that will hold it. And now what I'm going to do is just cut it down the middle. Maybe not. I may just do this. That should fit fine. So I'm just going to start down here and just cut up at an angle. Alright, so what I'm going to do is I am actually going to iron like this to give it a seam for me to put my hot glue in. Let me start here and iron this down. And now I'm going to do the same thing to the other side. So we'll start down here at the bottom of the little hat. Put some hot glue. And then we're just going to run the hot glue all the way up. Okay, and now we're just going to turn our little hat in right side out. Then we're going to take our little hat, put it down over our gnome. So we're going to just stick the head on there like this. And most people are hot gluing these down, but I don't want to because I may even use this as a Christmas decoration and I want to be able to put on a different type of hat. So I'm just going to leave the hat sitting there. Then now it's time to glue on our nose, but we need a second layer of paint. So go ahead and do that. And I'm going to sit it back down in here and let it dry. Just take some of the paint off. Dab that. Give that just a minute to dry. What I'm thinking about doing is putting a little pom-pom here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this little pom-pom from Dollar Tree and I'm just going to hot glue it onto the little hat, the little gnome's hat. See, isn't that cute? It's a little bit different. And there is our little fall gnome with his cute little pom-pom on his hat. Alright, stick around to see the final product. I may be a little biased, but I think this is the cutest little gnome I've ever seen. What do you think? Today we will be making this adorable vintage truck piece, which can be hung on the wall or sat on a table or shelf to add a little something to your fall decor. Okay, so we're going to make a little fall printable or little fall picture using this red truck, this scrapbook paper, these orange pumpkins, and just one of the signs that I picked up from Dollar Tree. So the first thing we need to do is measure out the size that we need to cut this down to put it in the middle. So basically all I'm doing is laying the frame part on here and making some light lines. Now I'm just going to cut it out. Okay, now let's see if it will fit. Cut it a little bit too big, so we're just going to take a little bit off. Okay, so I've got this cut down to size. And the first thing I want to do is paint the inside. Paint the inside here white chalk paint. And the chalk paint I'm going to use is this from Rust-Oleum. I did get this on Amazon, and I will leave a link in the description if you're interested in this chalk paint. I'm going to start off by painting the edge here white. I'm trying to be careful not to get it on the buffalo print on the other side. After I have the edge painted, I'm going to paint the sides. I'm not really worried about painting the middle because that's where we're going to put our scrap paper. While that dries, we're going to go ahead and apply our vinyl cutouts onto our scrap paper. Okay, so our truck is ready to be placed onto our scrapbook paper. And I saw where my middle line was, so I'm just gonna try my best to get this as straight as possible, as centered as possible. Now I'm just gonna attach it. Peel the transfer paper off. Now we're going to add, our pumpkins. And we're going to put these in the back of the truck. Just like so. So I'm going to add some Mod Podge. And I'm going to add my picture. And I'm going to make sure it sticks very well. Okay, so while that dries, I want to add if I can get it up here, I want to add this string to the inside. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to hot glue the string down. And when you're finished, you have this. And you could do other things. You could say pumpkin patch or anything like that that you wanted to. Happy fall. But I just wanted it to be plain like this. I think it's pretty. Next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to add some rope on the back so we can hang this up. There we go. Stay tuned to see the final results. Today, we're going to be making this fall garland using Dollar Tree items and beads from Amazon. Okay, for our next project, we're going to make a cute little fall garland, beaded garland, using one of these from Dollar Tree, twine from Dollar Tree, Rust-Oleum paint to paint the sign, and some beads that I've gotten. So the first thing we want to do is get the stick off of here. So I'm going to take it's only on there with hot glue, so I'm going to take my hot glue gun and try to melt the glue that's on here. And that should make it come off easier. Voila, it came off. And now I've got this, it was called a hot glue eraser. I got it at Dollar Tree also, and we're going to see if it'll get this hot glue off the back. Didn't get all of it, but it did get a good bit. So the next thing we want to do is put a hole in the middle here. I don't know if you can see that, but we're going to put a hole here in the middle, and I'm going to have to get a drill bit and a drill to do that. And I'm just going to use this little piece of wood that I've got so that I don't drill through my table here. It did split the back a little bit. That's fine. You're not going to be able to see the back. There's what we've got. Now we're going to paint this white. Using our Rust-Oleum paint. So I'm going to let that layer dry a little. And we're going to start stringing some beads. These beads, I really have no idea where I got them, but I will put a link in the description where you can get them off of Amazon, because once I run out, that's where I'll be getting mine. So we've got our twine, and we're just wrapping it a couple of times with some painter's tape. And I'm going to start stringing some beads. I'm going to have to use these medium to small because I've ran out of my big ones. Now, I decided to leave my beads just natural looking, but you can paint these to match your decor. And I'm just going to go ahead and give this a second coat of paint. Okay, I think this right here is a pretty good length for our garland. This still is not as white as I want it, so I'm going to do another coat. I am out of the Waverly chalk paint, and it does so much better than this, but you can't seem to find it anywhere. Not in white, anyway. Alright, so we will put that there and let it dry. It looks like it's probably going to be white enough after 3 coats. Okay, so what I'm going to do, I'm going to make a tassel using this orange and brown jute cord, also from Dollar Tree. So to make tassels, it's very simple. You just hold it here and then you wrap it around your fingers about 5 to 10 times. I did 6 on this one. Then I'm going to cut it off. Now I'm going to tie it onto now I'm just tying it onto my bead string. Then I'm going to cut off the excess. Then we're going to cut off some of the brown, same length in the orange. Gonna start wrapping it around and around and making sure it's tight. When you have it about how you want it, just get you a dab hot glue. Cut off the excess. I thought we have a little excess here, so I'm going to cut it off also. Then we just go in the center, pull down and cut. and you actually have your little tassel here. Now, if you don't like the length of it, you can cut it shorter, but I think that's perfectly fine. So I used to get these paint pens at Walmart. I don't believe they carry them anymore, and I haven't been able to find them. But it's just a fine tip paint pen using acrylic paint. And I'm gonna write fall. Attempt to paint this through this little bitty hole. So once you get the little plaque on there, I'm just going to tie a small knot to hold it in place. Dab of hot glue on the knot just so it doesn't come undone when you cut the slack off. And I just noticed where it was black around the edges, I think I want to keep it black. So I'm going to use that paint pen again and just go around the edges. We are going to make 3 fabric pumpkins for you to add to your fall decor. This is a piece of fabric I had that I thought would look great for this pumpkin. I am using Dollar Tree styrofoam pumpkins, and I've already taken the stem off of them. Now I'm going to add some hot glue and one of the stems that I also got from Dollar Tree. I'm going to add hot glue to the side of the pumpkin and begin gluing the fabric to the pumpkin. I start at the bottom and work my way up, going from side to side. I try to put the hot glue into the creases of the pumpkin. I'm just simply working my way around the pumpkin until I get all the fabric glued down. After I get the fabric glued to the sides of the pumpkin, I begin cutting the excess off of the top. I am now going to glue the fabric to the top part of the pumpkin while making folds in the fabric and applying glue to any parts I missed. Make sure you don't rip the wood stick off while doing this. Once I have everything glued around the top of the pumpkin, I again cut more excess fabric off of the top. And then add hot glue to any places around the top that I may have missed. Now the first pumpkin is done. On this pumpkin, I'm going to use some of the orange burlap ribbon I got from Dollar Tree. I'm going to cut it down so it will fit. I'm going to basically do the same thing with this pumpkin as I did with the first by gluing the ribbon onto the pumpkin. Starting with the bottom first. Then I make sure that I'm overlapping the ribbon at the edges. I'm sorry, but I lost the footage of me making the burlap pumpkin. What I used was 2 straps from some burlap bags that I found at Dollar Tree. These are the 3 pumpkins with the fabric glued down. Now we are going to add some decorative touches. I am reusing parts of the pumpkin that I had originally cut off the top. I just made the hole in the leaves a little bigger and then slipped it over the stem. Now I'm going to tie some brown jute twine onto the orange pumpkin and hot glue everything into place. Now I'm going to cut the twine to a size that looks nice. I think this orange pumpkin turned out great. What do you think? On the burlap pumpkin, I'm going to add some white lace that I have. I actually think I like it better than the first one. On the gray pumpkin, I'm adding the leaf and some orange burlap twine. Today, I'm going to show you how I made this cute fall sign using Dollar Tree items. I've been hanging on to this piece of barnwood, trying to figure out what I wanted to do with it. I found these sticks at Dollar Tree and came up with this idea. This is a simple DIY and only takes about 15 minutes. You will need about 15 sticks from a bag of Dollar Tree sticks. What I did is I drew out the word fall and centered it on the barnwood. Then I got my hot glue gun and started gluing the sticks onto the wood. Then I took some of the fall florals from Dollar Tree and added those to the sign. Placed them on the sign where I wanted and then started hot gluing everything down. I later decided to add a rope to the top of it so I could hang it on my front door. I think it turned out amazing. What do you think? Sorry guys, but I somehow lost the footage for the beginning of this video. But what I'm using is a hurricane vase from Dollar Tree and some Rust-Oleum copper paint to make this beautiful vase, which can be used in a variety of ways. Today I'm going to use it as a piece of fall decor. Okay, so our paint has dried on our vase. So now we're going to remove the paper. So I've got a few little bad places, but that's fine, because what we're going to do next is I'm going to put a little piece of lace around here, and that way it'll cover up these little places. Now I actually got this lace from Dollar Tree yesterday. Got to cut it just a little bit longer than it actually needs to be. And then I'm going to put a tad of hot glue on this end. Okay, and when you get it glued down, this is what you have. So next we're going to put some fall flowers in this so you can see how pretty it can be. Okay, so all these florals I also got at Dollar Tree. This is my bag of sticks that I had picked up at Dollar Tree. I just mixed them all together and put them in one bag. I'm going to put a few of these just in the bottom. Okay, so I put the sticks in here just to add some volume, so I can add some Spanish moss to it without having to use all Spanish moss. Okay, and I did get this at Dollar Tree also. So now we're going to start putting our flowers in. And I finally found some of these cattails, and I just absolutely love these. I think they are so cute. I'm going to add some of these. And of course they only had one pack at my Dollar Tree. Also going to put one of these cute little fall bows on here. This I also got at Dollar Tree. I just think it'll give it a little bit more of a fall look. So I'm just going to put a small dab here on the back, because that way I can take it off, and I can also do something for other holidays with this vase. And this is my finished. Okay, we're getting ready to do a really fun craft for this fall. We're going to be using 3 different size beads. These are big beads, medium beads, and small beads. You're going to need some jute twine, the thin kind that will fit into these smaller beads. I'm going to try some of this orange paint from Dollar Tree, some lace that I got from Dollar Tree, thicker jute twine, and these cute little burlap leaves that I got from Dollar Tree. First thing you're going to need to do is paint the small beads. So while we're waiting on our orange beads to dry good, let's go ahead and make our tassel for our garland. So to make the tassel, just simply wrap it around your fingers. Okay, I wrapped it 4 times because this is a thicker piece of burlap, and then you want to cut it where the ends are even. So there is our first. Then you want to get your lace, and I'm just going to wrap it twice. wrap it around, and then have my ends meet. Now with some of the thinner twine, we're going to create our garland. It's sort of hard with just 2 hands. I think every woman needs about 3 or 4. But I'm just going to go ahead and cut this one since I'm running out of ways to hold it. So I want one on the front and one on the back. So we'll just put it together like that. Then I'm going to attempt to tie a little knot here without everything coming apart. Try to make all of your ends, all of your strings about the same length. We've got one, and we've got it really tight, and then like I said, we're just going to tie a knot. Okay, so now we're going to cut our thicker twine. And we're going to unravel it. So you just twist it like so. And this gives it more of a fringed look. Now we're going to just trim it so that they're all about the same length. Now I'm going to cut this string off. So when you're finished, you should have something similar to this. And guys, I'm sorry about the darkness. Okay, and as you can see, I left the tassel onto the original string. And the reason for doing that is I'm going to just start putting my beads on at the other end. That way I won't have to try to figure out how to get this attached. Alright, so I know I have cut a lot of string, but I just want to make sure I have enough for all of my beads. And now we're going to start stringing them. Going to do a large one first. Then we're going to do one of the bigger natural beads, one of the smaller natural beads, an orange bead, and sometimes if your holes are too small, just take a pair of scissors and try to make them a little bit larger. I wish my garland could be a little bit longer. I have ordered some more beads. They just haven't came in yet. I got them off of Amazon, and I will leave a link in the description of this video for the beads that I got. So with what I've got, this is the length of it. And the beaded section comes to about 16 inches. So now we want to put one of these little burlap flowers on here. Burlap leaves. You could leave your leaf this color, or you could paint it a different color. Just whatever you want to do. But for now, I'm just going to leave mine the plain. And we're going to put it onto our beads. Alright, so I've got my beads pulled pretty tight, and I'm feeding. You see this stem? I'm going to feed this stem into these end beads. So about there. Once we get it to where we want it, get some hot glue and just put some hot glue in this last bead. Then we're going to flip it over, and I'm just going to hot glue the string onto the leaf. And I'll tell you, if you have not used this, I know you can't see it, this Dollar Tree paint, it seems to be a lot better than the paint that's in the squeeze bottle. Okay, so while my leaf was drying, it's not quite dry all the way, but that's fine. I decided, I've got these little letters from Dollar Tree. I decided I was going to spell out fall, because I really want fall on this leaf. And then what I'm going to do is I'm just going to hot glue the letters on the leaf. I think it'll be cute. So let's give it a try. See, I think that turned out really cute with the word fall. So at the end, this is what we have. Turn around so y'all can see it. Thanks for watching. In today's video, I'm going to show you how I transformed this ugly wooden bowl into a beautiful home decor piece. I purchased this bowl from a thrift store this weekend for $3. I kept picking it up and putting it back down. I hated the look, but I loved the shape. So I finally decided to just go ahead and get it. By the time I got home, I knew exactly what I wanted to do with the bowl. The first thing I did was remove all the stickers from the bowl. I wanted to be able to use it as a bowl or as a riser. Then I painted it using Rust-Oleum chalk paint in white. I used an old hairdryer to help the paint dry quicker. I had to use 2 coats to get an even coverage. I then rubbed Waverly Antique Wax on the bowl. The wax was a little bit darker than what I wanted, so I took some rubbing alcohol that I had in a spray bottle and sprayed it on the bowl, and then rubbed it off using some napkins. This gave the bowl a ceramic look that I just loved. So, if you ever see an ugly bowl at a thrift store or Goodwill, go ahead and pick it up. I'm sure you will figure out a way to make it beautiful. I added pumpkins and a gnome to the bowl to create this amazing centerpiece. You can find the link for these videos in the description below. This was a simple and easy trash to treasure project. Make sure you subscribe to my channel and hit the bell so you'll be notified every time I upload a new video. Okay, so we're going to make a 3-tiered tray using Dollar Tree. I got this and this both at Dollar Tree. And then I got this also for $1, but it was at Dollar General. I got these little glasses in the waiting section of Dollar Tree. So the first thing you want to do is find the center point of your largest plate, and I've already done that. I'm going to be using E6000 to attach everything together. So what I'm going to do, it's actually going to sit this way. So I'm going to apply my E6000 to the bottom here, and I'm just using a skewer. And I'm just putting it all the way around the bottom of this little, I call it a shot glass. Now I'm going to center it up. And push it down. So we're going to set that aside and let that dry. Now we're going to do the same thing with this pie pan. There's my center on that one. Now I'm going to do the same thing with the E6000. Just get me a glob of it out. And then try to center it up. Now I'm going to add this onto the top. Alright, so we're going to get some more of the E6000 and we're going to put it around the edge of the shot glass on top. Now you center that on there, and I'm going to leave, I really want to do the other one also, just go ahead and do it. Now I'm going to add a little hot glue just to hold it in place while it dries. keep your fingers crossed this works. The last time I tried this, it did not. And I wound up with a 2-tiered tray. Okay, so let's add our hot glue here. I know you can't see what I'm doing, but I'm just adding hot glue to this middle on the bottom. And now I'm going to do the same thing, if I can get to the bottom, here. Like I said, I'm just hoping that the hot glue will hold everything in place until the E6000 hardens, which usually takes about 24 hours. So, once I get this done, I'm gonna let it cure overnight. And then tomorrow, hopefully everything will be good and I will be able to paint it. Actually gonna try to put some books on it. Just for the weight. Alright, see y'all again tomorrow. I let the tray dry for 2 days and then took it outside and simply spray painted it black. At first I was going to give it a galvanized look, but decided to leave it black. In the comments, let me know if you think I should go back and galvanize this. Make sure to subscribe and hit the bell so you will be notified each time I upload. Today I'm making these Ray Dunn inspired salt and pepper shakers. I saw this on Pinterest and fell in love with them. I found the skinny font on dafont.com, which is close to the Ray Dunn font. I then went to picmonkey.com and created my words. I placed them on a transparent background so I could use them with my Cricut. I then uploaded the words to Cricut Design Space. I sized them to fit the bottles. And then I cut and weeded the vinyl. I used this Rust-Oleum flat protective enamel on the bottles. And I used these salt shakers from Dollar Tree. They were 2 for $1. And here are my vinyl cutouts. If you don't have a Cricut and would like to purchase these vinyl cutouts, I'll leave a link in the description below. I took the lids off of both bottles and used painter's tape on the tops. I took the bottles outside and painted them. I took the tape off the tops of the bottles and realized I just didn't like the way they looked, so I decided to paint over them with Rust-Oleum chalk paint. I used 2 coats and let them dry. I applied the vinyl to the shakers using an old credit card and making sure I got the vinyl into the creases of the bottles. When I did this, some of the paint did come off, but I just went back over it with my white chalk paint. I think they turned out amazing. What do you think? Let me know in the comments below. Check out my other videos to see how I made everything in the picture. I will leave links to each video in the description below. And make sure to like and subscribe to my channel. And don't forget to hit the bell so you'll be notified each time I upload new videos. Today I'm working on this Ray Dunn inspired farmhouse riser with 3 vases. My inspiration for this project came from Etsy. I saw this image and thought, hey, I can do something like that. To get started, I created the words, cut the vinyl with my Cricut, and weeded them. I used a picture from Dollar Tree as my base, and I used some Jenga blocks in the corners because my Dollar Tree doesn't sell their version of them. I did this so I could hot glue the beads onto the frame. I painted the entire base with Rust-Oleum chalk paint. And it took 2 coats to get an even coverage. I glued 2 Jenga blocks together for the base of my riser in the back. I used a wooden coaster from Hobby Lobby and eyeballed the center. Then hot glued the blocks to the coaster. I painted the entire part with the same paint as the bottom piece. While the 2 wood pieces to the stand dried, I started painting the glass vases I had gotten from Dollar Tree. I didn't like the way they turned out, so I washed the paint off. I then poured paint into each vase and moved it around to get an even coverage. I would not recommend doing this unless you are putting faux flowers in them, but they did turn out with an amazing smooth look. While the vases dried, I assembled the tray. I found my center and placed the riser on it. I marked around the blocks on the bottom. And then hot glued the riser to the bottom. I used Waverly Antique wax to give the entire piece a worn look. I applied some of the wax, and then I would spray rubbing alcohol and rub off with a napkin. I have found this is the best way for me to remove any excess wax that I don't want. The next step was to put my vinyl letters onto my vases. I used my Cricut to cut out the letters. The font I used was the skinny font from dafont.com. I absolutely loved the way they turned out. Let me know what you think in the comments below, or let me know if you would have changed something. Thanks for watching. Make sure to subscribe and hit the bell so you will know each time I upload a new video. Today I have a super easy and fun Kirkland's inspired fall project. I used a Ray Dunn inspired font, the skinny font from dafont.com. first thing I did was saw down a 2x8 into 3 different sizes and sanded them. I then painted all the blocks with white Rust-Oleum chalk paint. I painted the front, back, and all 4 sides. After the blocks had dried, I watered down some Waverly antiquing wax so it wouldn't be so strong, and painted it onto the blocks and rubbed it off with a paper towel. I used 4 stems from Dollar Tree and hot glued them to the top of the blocks. I used my Cricut and cut out the word Fall in the skinny font. Then added the vinyl to each of the blocks. On 2 of the blocks, I used Dollar Tree nautical rope to decorate the stems, wrapping it around one and draping it over the other. The other 2, I used a piece of scrap ribbon and tied a little bow, then hot glued it to the stems. And this is what they look like when I finished. Let me know in the comments if you would have done anything different. If you haven't already, like this video and subscribe to my channel. Hit the bell to be notified when I upload new videos. And click on the link in the description to sign up for my mailing list. You will get access to all my free printables, downloads, and special offers just for my subscribers. In today's video, I will be showing you how to make this beautiful fall lantern using Dollar Tree picture frames and florals. And I added a cute little scarecrow that I loved. Today's video is brought to you by Monvic full-size dual-power heavy-duty glue gun. It can be used corded or uncorded for up to 5 minutes. Heats up in less than 3 minutes and can be used at 80 or 120 watts depending on the project. Includes 12 full-size glue sticks, not minis. I was asked to do a review of this product and I have to tell you, I absolutely love it. I'm excited about this glue gun and you will be too. And the best part is the cost, only $24 with free shipping. Click on the link in the description to view this item on Amazon. For this project, I will be using 4 8x10 picture frames from Dollar Tree. I removed the wrapping and took the back and the glass out of each of the frames. I then used my new Monvic full-size glue gun to attach all 4 frames together. I simply added the glue to the inside corner of one frame and then placed the other on top of it. I continued doing this until I had glued all 4 frames together. I also added a beaded glue down the inside of each frame. This added a little more stability to the lantern. Next, I used some pieces of wood and marked where I needed to cut them for the base of the lantern. I then cut them using my chop saw outside. After the pieces were cut down to size, I hot glued them together and attached the base to the frames to create the lantern. Again, I added a bead of hot glue for extra stability. I then turned everything upside down and glued 4 large wooden beads to the bottom and pressed down in the middle to make sure everything was sturdy. I took the entire piece outdoors and spray painted it with 2 coats of Rust-Oleum white flat enamel paint. Once the paint was dry, I applied hot glue around the edge where the glass sits in the frame and placed the glass back into each frame. I then added a hurricane vase that I got from Dollar Tree, and I picked up these cute mini lights in the shape of leaves to add to the hurricane vase. You can use a candle or any mini LED lights to the vase. I then started cutting pieces off of some of the fall florals and leaves that I purchased at Dollar Tree to put around the vase in the middle of the lantern to give it a fall look. I just started layering the different leaves and florals until I liked the way it looked. I also added 2 little scarecrows from Dollar Tree. And of course, my camera quit recording during this, and I didn't realize it until I started editing this video. This beautiful lantern will make a great centerpiece, or create 2 and place them outdoors on each side of your door. This was a simple project and I enjoyed doing it. I love the way it turned out, and I can't wait to decorate the lantern for Christmas. I hope you enjoyed this video, and if you haven't already, be sure to like this video and subscribe to my channel for more amazing decorating tips, tricks, and tutorials. In today's video, I am using a piece of scrap wood that I cut down to create this adorable pumpkin truck tiered tray sign for fall. I am using Oracle 813 transfer paper, apple barrel paint, Mod Podge, and Waverly Antiquing Stained. I first stained the wood with Waverly Stain. I love how it brings out the wood finish without the smell of stain. I covered the front, back, and all 4 sides. This is a stencil I created using my Cricut. You can find the cut file or the pre-cut stencil on my site. The link is in the description below. After applying the stencil, I applied a layer of Mod Podge. This helps to keep the paint from running under the stencil. I let the Mod Podge dry completely, and then I applied a piece of painter's tape below the letters. This will help from getting paint on areas you don't want it to be. If you are doing a project with only one color, This isn't needed, but since my sign is going to be 4 colors, I thought this was the best way to not make a huge mess. I then applied antique white acrylic paint to the words on the sign. I used a stencil brush and pounced on the letters. You don't want to use a paintbrush and brush the stencil. This could cause bleeding even with the Mod Podge applied. I cleaned my brush with water and dried it on a paper towel. I used black acrylic paint for the wheels on the truck. I was careful and watched where the paint was being applied so I wouldn't get any paint on the truck part. I removed the tape from under the letters so I could paint the truck. For the truck, I used flag red acrylic paint and used the same pounce method, being careful not to get red on the pumpkins. I then used spiced carrot for the pumpkins using the same pounce method. I let the piece dry for about an hour. Then I started removing the stencil and weeding the other pieces out. Then with a small paintbrush, I touched up the tires, the truck, and a few of the places in the lettering. This just gave it a more hand-painted look. After letting everything dry overnight, I came back and coated the entire sign with Mod Podge. This helps to seal everything and will help in your sign lasting longer. I let the Mod Podge dry for a couple of hours and began working on the base of my sign. I was first going to put a frame around the entire piece, but decided I would just place it on a little wooden stand that I made out of the tumbling towers from Dollar Tree. I hot glued 3 blocks together, and I tried to remove as much excess glue on the blocks before it dried. I then stained the front, back, and sides of the blocks using the Waverly stain. The next step was to hot glue the sign to the stand using my new Monvic hot glue gun. I will leave a link in the description for this hot glue gun. It's one of the best I have ever used and I love it. I first placed a bead of glue on the bottom of the sign and held it down on the blocks. I wanted to make sure it was going to hold, so I added another bead of glue to the back of the sign where the sign met the stand. There was some glue showing on the front of the sign, so I decided to wrap some twine around the bottom to cover it up. When I was finished, this is what the sign looked like. I think it turned out perfect. I will be adding this to my Etsy store for sure. I will leave a link in the description. Let me know if you would change anything to this little tiered tray sign in the comments below. I read and answer all my comments. If you haven't already, please go ahead and like this video and subscribe to my channel. If you want to be one of the first to be notified when I upload new videos, make sure to hit the bell notification. Hey all my crafty friends. In today's video, I will be making 2 versions of this Thankful, Grateful, Blessed mini tiered sign. I couldn't figure out which font I like best, so I just went ahead and made both of them. I used 2 wooden coasters from Hobby Lobby to create these adorable little signs. So the first thing I did was stain both the coasters using Waverly Antiquing Wax. The more I have used this, the more I love it. At first I didn't like it at all and preferred to actually stain my wood, but now I love being able to stain without the odor, and it dries so much quicker. After I applied the stain and wiped off the excess, I applied this cute little vinyl cutout. If you are interested in the cut file or a pre-cut version ready to be applied, check in the description below. After applying the vinyl, I used Mod Podge to seal everything. I use the gloss Mod Podge because I think it gives the sign a more professional, finished look. I did the exact same steps with the other vinyl cutout. I created a little bow for the first sign, but I forgot to hit record on the camera. Instead, I took a picture thinking I had hit record. I've got to get better at hitting the right button. Let me know in the comments below which sign you like the best. I think I prefer this one. And in case you missed the local pumpkins mini sign, I'm adding it to this video also. I just love making these mini signs and can't wait to create more. I am using Oracle 813 transfer paper, apple barrel paint, Mod Podge, and Waverly Antiquing Stained. I first stained the wood with Waverly Stain. I love how it brings out the wood finish without the smell of stain. I covered the front, back, and all four sides. This is a stencil I created using my Cricut. You can find the cut file or the pre-cut stencil on my site. The link is in the description below. After applying the stencil, I applied a layer of Mod Podge. This helps to keep the paint from running under the stencil. I let the Mod Podge dry completely, and then I applied a piece of painter's tape below the letters. This will help from getting paint on areas you don't want it to be. If you are doing a project with only one color, this isn't needed, but since my sign is going to be 4 colors, I thought this was the best way to not make a huge mess. I then applied antique white acrylic paint to the words on the sign. I used a stencil brush and pounced on the letters. You don't want to use a paintbrush and brush the stencil. This could cause bleeding even with the Mod Podge applied. I cleaned my brush with water and dried it on a paper towel. I used black acrylic paint for the wheels on the truck. I was careful and watched where the paint was being applied so I wouldn't get any paint on the truck part. I removed the tape from under the letters so I could paint the truck. For the truck, I used flag red acrylic paint and use the same pounce method, being careful not to get red on the pumpkins. I then used spiced carrot for the pumpkins using the same pounce method. I let the piece dry for about an hour. Then I started removing the stencil and weeding the other pieces out. Then with a small paintbrush, I touched up the tires, the truck, and a few of the places in the lettering. This just gave it a more hand-painted look. After letting everything dry overnight, I came back and coated the entire sign with Mod Podge. This helps to seal everything and will help in your sign lasting longer. I let the Mod Podge dry for a couple of hours and began working on the base of my sign. I was first going to put a frame around the entire piece, but decided I would just place it on a little wooden stand that I made out of the tumbling towers from Dollar Tree. I hot glued 3 blocks together, and I tried to remove as much excess glue on the blocks before it dried. I then stained the front, back, and sides of the blocks using the Waverly stain. The next step was to hot glue the sign to the stand using my new Monvic hot glue gun. I will leave a link in the description for this hot glue gun. It's one of the best I have ever used and I love it. I first placed a bead of glue on the bottom of the sign and held it down on the blocks. I wanted to make sure it was going to hold, so I added another bead of glue to the back of the sign where the sign met the stand. There was some glue showing on the front of the sign, so I decided to wrap some twine around the bottom to cover it up. When I was finished, this is what the sign looked like. I think it turned out perfect. I will be adding this to my Etsy store for sure. I will leave a link in the description. Let me know if you would change anything to this little tiered tray sign in the comments below. I read and answer all my comments. If you haven't already, please go ahead and like this video and subscribe to my channel. If you want to be one of the first to be notified when I upload new videos, make sure to hit the bell notification. And as always, thanks for watching.